Hello, you Maltese. Marvellous malt makes memorable Maltese. That's a malt mention here in the Bothy. I'm Ralphie, and a big thank you to the Shredfest 89 for that malt mention, moment mention, right? For our Ralphie review, 1018 extras, right, which is an extra video relating, usually, to my previous review, which has been off this single malt, which is 12-year-old Portwood finished Ardmore single malt from Scotland. Great distillery, great legacy, but these days it's far more sanitised. It's not exciting. It really isn't exciting at all. It's unchill filtered, but I've added water, and there's not a lot of Scotch mist in it. Right? I've added water to that. So what they're doing, in my opinion, and it's just an opinion, so just keep the lawyers at bay at the moment. I think they're filtering their whiskey heavily without chilling it before they do so. It is not natural whiskey straight from the cask that's been basic barrier filtered. And that, in fact, is what it should be. I should be looking at the bottle and seeing sediment on the base coming from the cask. That, malt mates, is the sign of authentic, real whiskey. But you only tend to get that style of authenticity from the small distilleries that actually stick to the real traditions and that are not owned by corporations, because corporations have only one way of working, malt mates, and that is the corporate way. And the corporate way means that they don't give a damn about what the informed customer thinks, because they're aiming their brand at the blinded, passive, price-led, impulsive buying consumer. But they've got a problem, the distillers. You see these dumb consumers that they're so passionate about, particularly with the marketing departments and all the fake speak that they spill out in their press releases about, the exceptional luxury and the uniqueness and how rare this cask is and how rare that cask is and all the rare casks. It's all flannel and BS. That's what it is. Total BS. We used to not mind it, but now that we see how it directly and dramatically impacts the smell and taste of what you and I invest in, then we just see how dangerous and damaging this whole culture is, particularly as it continues to fundamentally undermine the reputation of Scotch whisky around the world. It's what it does. And it's what it is. So thank goodness for the internet, where a nuisance and a pest like myself can actually give you a seasoned, informed opinion without bogging you down with expertise. Just give you a seasoned opinion so as to help you make more intelligent, successful purchases, so that you enjoy whiskey, because you're buying better whiskey and good value whiskey, which keeps your interest in whiskey and actually generates sales, some of which actually go back into Scottish society, particularly in providing people employment. That matters to me. I'm Scottish. I know Scotland. I've got a bottle of whiskey here. It's called Teacher's Highland Cream. Classic, famous Scotch whisky brand. I bought this at auction a few years ago. I paid £25 for it. And, hang about. I think I've seen something in this I haven't noticed before. Oh no, it's a kind of special code thing. This was produced for the not for the British market. So it's Teacher's blended Scotch bottled at 40%. It's very, very different to what they're bottling now. When you pick up these blends at auction houses from the 1980s, you're getting a different recipe. And see in the back, I'm going to read you out what it says in the back. Let's open it and pour a glass. See that light colour? That wonderful light colour that you rarely see in modern blended whiskies. It means they've not dumped a load of artificial caramel colouring into it. They will tell you it's natural, but it's industrially produced. It's not natural. But hey, it's what you get in blends. I will read the back. All blended Scotch whiskies are made of two kinds of whisky, malt and grain, but Teacher's Highland Cream has an exceptionally high malt content, at least 45%. 45% malt. I continue. A feature which contributes to its unique character and flavour. And it just so happens that 45% is virtually all coming from one single malt distillery, and that distillery is Ardmore. I first tasted Ardmore in Teacher's Highland Cream back in the 1980s, when it was actually considered a wonderful blended whisky. A reputation which it had then, which it most certainly no longer has now. Don't waste your time with a modern bottle of Teacher's Highland Cream. All it is something to be poured over ice in a tumbler at a wedding when you're actually fed your face to the gunnels and you're just looking for something to help you pass through the night. Because it's what happens at weddings. I'm talking from experience here. So what's this like? 1980s, screw top, all good, high neck fill, very intact, collectible? No, so it's cheaper, it's affordable. Slightly dusty, because it came in a cardboard box, didn't it? And when you store whiskey in a cardboard box, it takes on the smell into the flavour of the cardboard. It just does. Just sharing that. Oh. You can actually tangibly taste the connectivity. You can taste the similarity. But with this, the phenolic is more natural. It's got more substance to it. It's more steam engine coal. It's more wonderfully aromatically fusile. And this is it diluted down with grain whiskey. My goodness, honestly, what I would give for a decent old school cask of Ardmore these days, which are impossible to find. I've added a drop of water, just a drop. Many people are not aware of this. You might be aware of it, you might not be. But when we look at auctions, we get past the so-called collectible malts, the Macallans and Springbanks and the Port Ellens and all the blingy stuff, and look at the humble bottlings, because in amongst them there is real treasure, beautiful, beautiful stuff to be found, and this is one of them. You will get aged Teachers, 8-year-old and 12-year-old, and occasionally I'm sure I've seen a 25-year-old. My goodness, what nectar. And completely overlooked by the majority of whisky buyers at auction. But I'm spoiled. Where I am in the Irish Sea, I'm surrounded by whisky auctions, really. So hopefully more countries in other parts of the world will have spirits auctions, so that we can have greater variety of choice, particularly to compare the old with the new. And then you really tangibly see for yourself just how much things can change when ownership are only looking at yield and not at the quality of the legacy, which is so, so important for reputation. Very creamy, beautiful, crisp, delicious, sweet grain. Oh my. Dry lemon, lemon soda, a little touch of icing, quite biscuity, quite digestive biscuit, tea biscuit. Short, to the point, it's young, I know, but it cleanly made, freshly done, and I'm getting that lovely, just enough to make it work, that 45%, right, of single malt whiskey, which again in itself is quite young because I can see it in the dynamic of the phenolic delivery. So what happens, right, what happens is I take the Ardmore and I just add it to this blend. So I've topped up and enhanced the malt content of this blended whiskey, which is predominantly this single malt with more of this single malt. What happens next? You already know because you're regular watchers. You probably already know. Something better happens. When you add good whiskey to existing whiskey, the existing whiskey only ever gets better. In what way? It's entirely your experience of smell and taste. The flavour doesn't change. The length of the arrival, development and finish more than doubles. It more than doubles. You won't believe it until you experience it. And this is the beautiful, wonderful thing about being a single malt whiskey aficionado and a drinker, is that we really tap in to how amazing and alchemaic ethanol drinking alcohol can be when we're not consuming it just to get pished and buzzed, but consuming it slowly under controlled conditions that we impose upon it to get this marvellous synergy and energy and delivery of complexity. It's just absolutely amazing. There's also a soft ginger cake note comes in, and it's nothing short of remarkable. Do you know, you could take a standard bottle of blend, add a reasonable, not even a brilliant bottle of Ardmore, just top it up, and you've got something which will give you more mileage than your average sanitised, chill-filtered, caramel-laden single malt that you got off a supermarket shelf. And it won't cost you a fortune. Cheers. Oh. I'm surprised. I didn't expect that to work so well. But hey, that's what happens when you don't edit and you just let the video take its own course. I suspected it might work, but even if it hadn't worked, I'd have let you know. So it's a win-win situation. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, click like, subscribe if you haven't. You might want to check out the additional content and live streams on my Patreon channel and Discord group, because you get access to my Discord group of very, very well informed whiskey buyers, and it's a wonderful journey, is it not? See you soon, malt mates.